Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Namaste to everyone. Om Apara Satchit Sukhavari Rashir Yasyor Mimatram Bhuvanam Samastam Guhahitam Tam Ramanam Gabhiram Chinta Vihinam Hradi Chintayami Bhaktim me nirmalam dehi charanam jadvaye tava vishayeshu viraktincha bhagavan karunanidhe. Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi wrote or put together what he had composed at different times, a work called Ulladu Napatu, and the Sanskrit version of it is Saddarshanam. Ulladu Napatu literally means 40 verses on what is, 40 verses on the reality. Saddarshanam, without going far from it, literally means a vision of the ultimate reality. I personally regard Saddarshanam as one of the most excellent treatises on the wisdom of the Upanishads, on the wisdom of Brahma Vidya. There are many works everywhere. In the Ramana literature also we have many. We have Ramana Gita, we have Upadesha Sara, we have works of Muruganar, and there are many in Tamil, in Sanskrit, and so on. Of course, I have not studied all of them. However, among the several works of Ramana, especially in Sanskrit, Upadesha Sara, Ramana Gita, and Saddarshanam, Saddarshanam has the unique place of being very focused on the understanding of the Supreme Truth. Hardly any verse is spent on what goes to preparing the mind or the so-called do's and don'ts or the so-called tips on sadhana, etc. All those are covered in so many other works. No time is spent in the Saddarshanam on Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga or Raja Yoga. At the most, a passing reference is made with the primary focus remaining on Jnana, the right seeing. And once more I would say, if you were to ask me, we'll take away all books from you and leave one book with you, I would say, leave Saddarshanam with me for contemplation, for being with that vision, with that understanding. The insights that we obtain in Saddarshanam are all, in a manner of saying, worth their weight in gold. This is an excellent work. This Saddarshanam is a gift to humanity for long time to come. 40 verses they were to begin with, and then when it got into Sanskrit, the version, 2 verses were added as invocation. I have not verified, probably that was done in Tamil version also. But 2 were added in the beginning and 2 were added at the end as some kind of, here is this great work which was originally composed in Tamil. Then Ganapati Muni put it in Sanskrit to say that a shloka and to say that this is Maharshi Ramana's work, and Muni's words, Ganapati Muni's words only are a reflecting surface for the words of Maharshi Ramana to come to us. Saying these things, the 2 verses were added. Therefore, if you leave those 2 at the end which were later added, 2 at the beginning as Mangala Shloka, it is 40. Sanskrit also is 40. These verses, once more, are high plateau contemplation. High plateau revelation, first of all. Someone like Bhagavan reveals, this is it. And for you and me, it is to understand and then dwell on that insight. Many are the precious insights, revelations found in the body of these 40 verses, and this get together this Sunday morning obviously does not give to us enough time to go to so many of them. Even to do justice to the 2 verses I have selected, it's a daunting task. However, we shall attempt and invoke the grace of Lord Arunachala and Sri Ramana Maharshi to give to all of us, listeners as well as the speaker, the sattvic and receptive mind to connect to these lofty teachings. So the 2 verses that I have chosen to dwell on and share some reflections on them with all of you relate to what Bhagavan says about time and space. The verses 17 and 18 talk about these time and space, and let me quickly read for you the 2 shlokas. In 17, he talks about our mind constantly going to future and the past, and our mind gives so much sense of reality to the tomorrow, to so much of weight to the yesterdays. In the process, we lose the sense of the present. We are not in the present at all. And he says in the 17th verse, what are these past and future? Do they have any meaning at all except for the present? Isn't the present only the actual truth? The past and future are just projections. So in that sense, there is this Sanskrit version. Those of you who know Tamil can check with the original Tamil too. I envy all of them that they can get into the original. So I am reading before you the Sanskrit form of it. Bhutam bhavishyatcha bhavat swakale tadvartamanasya vihaya tattvam hasyana kim syad gata bhavi charcha vinayika sankhyaam gananeva loke. And the next shloka, both of them, I will elaborate a bit later, says, really, the ideas of space and time, dik means dishaha, north, south, west, east and so on, are dishaha, and that is no other than space. And time is called kala in Sanskrit. He says, how can there be any space and time unless in the first place our ego is up and active? There is a sense of me, I am this, I am that. And this me has a certain boundary, certain enclosure, certain limitation, certain sense of I am this and not more, and he is that and not less. So the measured entity called I, which elsewhere is called I thought, aham vritti, only when there is this measured entity called the I thought, there is then the sense of space and time. In other words, this universe which expresses itself in form of various names and forms, spread out, scattered along space and time, are an appearance along with the appearance of the limited I. The limited I and space and time, this universe, rise together and they subside together. In deep sleep, sushupti, there is neither the universe nor the limited I. The pure I shines uninterrupted or unimpeded in deep sleep, and over there in deep sleep there is no space, no time. So he says, this Dik and Kala are of questionable reality. Their reality, which seems to be strong, who would question the space and time? Even Einstein questioned the absoluteness of time and space and showed that they are relative, but I do not think that Einstein called them a mere appearance. In the Advaita Vedanta, in Shankara's Vedanta, of which or for which we regard Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi as the most shining example of living that wisdom, it is startling, in fact it is astonishing that Maharshi Ramana, who did not study the Upanishads, Gita, etc. in that particular lifespan, who later met scholars and when they said this or that, had such a clear understanding, there was no contradiction between Shankara and him. And when Shastra scholars, Shastris came and said, Bhashyas of Shankara say this, or the Upanishads Moola say this, Maharshi heard them and said, that is how I too look at things. There was that going together which really startles us. So, Maharshi says in the 18th shloka, Kvabhati dikkala katha vinasman dikkala lile havapur vayanchet na kvapi bhamo na kadapi bhamo vayam tu sarvatra sadacha bhamaha. We'll go into the details of that pretty soon. Incidentally, the Tamil original Ulladu Napathu has been rendered into Sanskrit by at least two great scholars, if not more. Another by Lakshmana Sharma, who was also known as Who? Who am I? So he took a pen name. Lakshmana Sharma's books were, they had a title, and then if you say who is this author of it, you will find author is Who. The author himself is Yar. So he took Nan Yar so much to his heart, he took a Kavya Nama, pen name, Who. I believe Lakshman Sharma's special expertise was in nutrition, in right diet and so on. And now one of his grandsons or great-grandsons is going around, comes to United States also, and conducts 5-day programs, 10-day programs on right food, not cooked, raw food, and so many which are said to solve a lot of health problems. So Lakshman Sharma also was much into it. That way I must admit here, with due respect to Ganapati Muni, he too had his baggage. Therefore in some Ramana Maharshi circles, without going long into it, perhaps it is true also that there is a little bit caution exercised about Ganapati Muni or the Sanskrit works. I have heard, I personally do not know Tamil so much, I know a little, I have not verified it, but there are some who say, while it is great that beautiful Sanskrit renderings are made, versions are brought out, helping a larger number of people, it has at places not done justice to the original Tamil. For after all of us have our baggage. All of us, every one of us. I too have my own baggage. You give anything to me, even as I speak on it, some of my conditionings, known or unknown to me, will creep in. It will slightly color what was given to me. When it comes to you, call it coloring or call it a little distortion. So we seek the forgiveness of the Master, of God, for those little errors in us. So here we have this Ganapati Muni's Sanskrit version of Saddarshanam. Lastly, Lakshmana Sharma's Sanskrit rendering I have gone through. In fact, it is more clear, more unambiguous, and I have heard, I believe Bhagavan himself said, this represents my original much better. But the difficulty with that is the meter, that is number of syllables in each quarter of the shloka, is much larger. It is probably Shardula Vikredita, like Dakshinamurti Stotra and so on, Some 19 syllables in each line, and then like that there are 4 padas. So 19 into 4 is 76 syllables in the whole shloka. Whereas this meter is called Upajati, 11 syllables, 11 into 4 is 44. So that is almost double the size, and a bit of a difficult poetry to get a handle on. This is so easily flowing and easier to remember and recite and all that. So let's see. I'll refer to the 17th sloka first. Sri Ramana Maharshi says, what you call bhuta, the past, this is now therefore a reference to time. Past and future are components of time. What is called past and what is called future are actually the present only when you really meet them. Let's say I ask you, give an example for the past. You say, okay, today is November 3, October 3, 2019 is an example for the past. Then I ask you, were you there alive in 2019 October 3? You say, of course, I was there last month. I am, someone of you may say, I am 48-year-old and 48 Octobers I have seen. You may say, okay, that's fine, that's good. So far so good. Now comes the question. On October 3, which you say labeled as the past, when you were alive, up and active, going around maybe in the Bay Area, did you refer to that day as the past? Did you say and did you shake hands with somebody and while talking to him, proposing, come on, let's go to Sunnyvale now, let's go today and watch that exhibition in Sunnyvale. Did you use the word today or did you use the word yesterday? In October 3, it is so-called the past, when you actually shook hands with October 3, it came across as the present only. Give an example for the future. December 3. Will you definitely be around? Well, the philosophy says I may not be, but I have no doubt I will be. My own heart says all others would die, but I will never die. Everybody thinks they are immortal. Therefore, Yudhishthira himself said right in the Yaksha Prashna, when Yaksha asked him what is the greatest, most surprising thing in this world, he said, most surprising thing in this world is everybody, even as they watch people dying and going, believe they will not die. So, December 3, example for future. Now, time and tide do not wait for any. Time passes and you will be in or on that date of December 3. When you actually on December 3, maybe there is a wedding somewhere, you go attend the wedding and give a bouquet, some gift to the bride and bridegroom, bless them. May you have a long, happy married life. Do you refer to that day in your interactions as future? You will say today. You will go up the stage where the bride and bridegroom are standing in the reception, give them a bouquet or shake hands with them, say, I'm so happy to be here today. What? last month in Cupertino, you said December 23, to December 3 is future. So when actually December 3 comes, you should go up the stage and say, I'm so happy to be here in the future. You wouldn't. That's the meaning, simple terms. Bhutam bhavishyatcha swakale, when you actually are in touch with them, are the present only. Bhavat. Bhavat is a synonym for Vartamana. Many of you know the Sanskrit word for present. The present is called Vartamana. Talking of past, present, future, etc., I must tell you, we speakers have a vasana for cracking jokes. At the end of almost every lecture, I seek forgiveness of God for cracking jokes, more than what is appropriate. One or two is okay. But when the joke arises in our heart, such an irresistible urge it is. A couple of years ago, I was traveling in US only, and I learned how to use Siri in iPhones. So we started asking first questions like, Siri, tell us which is the longest river, or which is the capital of Pakistan, some such things. Then we want to improve upon our questions to Siri. And we asked 3-4 of us, Siri, tell us a joke. And we thought Siri would say, well, you may get it somewhere else, some avoiding. No! Siri, the intelligence in the iPhone, said to us a joke on time, not space and time. This joke was, yes, here is a joke for you. Once, the past, the present and the future went to a coffee shop, and the atmosphere there was tense. Past alone is one tense. Present also is a tense. Future is another tense. So if past, present, future, all of them go to Starbucks or any other, the atmosphere is bound to be very tense. That was the joke Siri gave, no other, ordinary joke. Very, very touching. All right. Bhutam, the past, Bhavishyat, the future, Swakale, at their own time, when you actually are in contact, either with October 3, the so-called past, or December 3, the so-called future, they are the present. And this is a very thought-provoking statement, which means, really, you and I never meet the past or the future, except for thought. Philosophically, by the way, philosophy means love of truth. I think Sophia means truth and philo something, it means love. So when we are in love with truth and not with money or some other project getting completed and so on. In the Vyavaharika transactional world, we say all this philosophy is fine, but will you give back the money I give you by 10 days or not? So in taking money, giving money, buying something, selling something, time, you can't question time. But otherwise, scratch the surface, go to a certain deeper dimension of your existence. You and I do it when we are tired of earning and spending, when we are tired of all these worldly activities, which we only wanted when our vasanas were demanding. And we are tired, we say, all right, what is the deeper truth of life? Why are we here? And so on. So that sense, the philosophy would say that present alone is, and there is a sense of future, a sense of the past. Bhutam bhavishyat vastutaha actually are bhavat eva. Bhavat is a synonym for vartamana. Atita is a synonym for example, bhuta. And bhavishyat also has some other bhavya. Bhavya is a synonym. Bhavya or even bhavya also, something yet to happen. So, bhavat, they are vartamana only. Bhutam bhavishyatcha bhavat swakale. Tat, in this scenario, vartamanasya tattvam vihaya na bhavata. they do not have any validity if there were to be no present. Present is the adhara. Present is the solid foundation. Their being present, the present moment, maybe moment also need not be added there. Their being the present, it makes room for conceptualizing the future, visualizing the past. Therefore, Maharshi says, Vartamanasya tattvam vihaya, they do not exist. And if somebody talks about future and past endlessly, someone is so involved and so attached and so concerned with the future or with the past, leaving out the present, Maharshi says, is it not ridiculous? Is it not worthy of laughing? Third line of the shloka says, Hasya na kim? Hasya na kim? Is it not hasya? Hasya means something that calls for hasa. Hasa is laughter. Somebody laughs like a blooming lotus, you call him Kamala Hasa. Or somebody else is some other Hasa. Hasa means laughing. Hasati is to laugh. So Hasa is a noun form. So Hasyana kim? Hasyana kim syat gata bhavi charcha. Any discussion, charcha is talking about, and someone is happily enjoying the beautiful sunshine, or a plant, a flower is completely in the present, and you and I go and I'm seeing you are there for last half an hour. Don't waste time in all this. Young man, this is the time where you have to work, and then your future will be good. For your good future, I am telling you, stop enjoying nature. In the little town I grew up in, coastal Karnataka, actually a cousin of mine only. He was very fond of tabla. And when he came to 10th grade, my uncle, that is a cousin's father, said to him, this is not the time to play tabla. You must get into some professional course, engineering, medicine, chartered accountants, or veterinary doctor, this or that. He said, no, but I will at least play 1 hour. No. And literally, no exaggeration, the tablas were packed up, and in our old houses there is something called attic. What is it called?
Parane.
Parane. Parane, atta, there are some words. It was put there and it was closed. Till you get into engineering or medicine, or there are some options. I will give you several options, any of them. Till you get into one of them, the tablas will not come down. And that boy actually became a veterinary doctor later on. And I don't know, I should ask his sister. He passed away out of some accident. Sadashiva, my sister, knows here. I have my younger sister here in green sari. And their maga. Tabla was kept there. She was not allowed to. She may know more details, I don't know. So, you and I disturb the present of people. We disturb our own present also. Some of us, guided by the so-called motivational literature, tell ourselves, I'm enjoying this, but I think I should think about my future. Because that book of How to Live a Successful Life says, always plan for future. See, quotations are available in every context. I remember a quotation about importance of future. Somebody said, I believe in future because that is where rest of my life will be. Like that, things are said. Good speakers, good communicators can speak in favor of anything. They can speak in favor of drinking, they can speak in favor of smoking, anything. So one should not be carried away by what is prevalent, what is in the air. We should know that motivational workshops may give us some temporary benefit, but if we go so much for motivational stuff, how to become famous, how to win friends and influence people, all these are motivational. 7 habits and 9 principles and 6 secrets, of getting wealth and so on. All of them are okay unless, all of them are okay if you do not lose your swadharma. Without losing yourself, if you gather some skills, fine. But if you and I get carried away in one of those, workshops or whatever literature, and we lose our own soul, God has made us in certain way. God has made us to be in a certain field, contribute as well as enjoy inner evolution. Being carried away by ideas of becoming popular or building an empire, etc., we hurt something deeper in us. Sri Ramana says, Hasyana kim gatabhavi charcha, going much into this future and past, letting go of the present, losing a sense of what is going on within oneself at this moment. In higher philosophy, allied literature, great importance is given. I don't want to drop other names of scholars, authors and so on, but great importance is given to be attentive to a thought that is rising in us at this moment. Present. In the present, I have fear, let us say. I must notice that. It is of great value. In the present, if there is some hope, some desire, my face lights up with a certain possibility. Leave aside that possibility that may come true or not. This movement of the mind, this thought, making me so happy. I think very soon I'll be a millionaire or some such thing, Leave aside that. We have nothing against becoming millionaire. But this thought process, what does it mean? So it is said, though it may look a bit abstract, actually those who are able to look at their fear or hope or insecurity very carefully are working on themselves on a very deep level. If they are free from that fear, if they are free from that hope, that is the greatest spiritual service. Probably, I should dare say, in a rather similar way, if not very similar way, when the fear of death seized that young boy, Venkataraman, at the age of 17, pretty much he did that. Rather than thinking, if I die, what will happen to what I wanted to do? Future. And if I die, what will my parents, they will cry endlessly. I must live at least for my mother's sake, or etc. Those 100 thoughts can come to you and me. But the young Ramana said, I'm afraid of dying, but let me see what it is to die. And rather than running downstairs to ask his aunt to help him, he just lies down, right? Everybody knows the story, and says, let me watch this fear. And rest is history. The famous, celebrated death experience of the boy Venkataraman in Madurai, it led to a total change. His life went in a different direction. When you and I generally have thought of future, like this, some hope. I think I made some two good contacts today. I think if I nurture those two contacts, very soon, I will be a big person. Generally, we indulge in the thought, we go more and more into that and get into details, how to get close to those two, how to have them, as my close friends, how to get into their good books. This is all details. Whereas, think of it, while you may do a little bit of vyavahara, that's different, but can you at times look at the thought of hope, hoping to be a millionaire, or even a Swami like me, hoping to become a popular, very well known, My only sorrow is I am going nowadays only to 2 continents. And the world has 6 continents. A long way to go. That, is motivational. There will be a book next time I go to Barnes and Noble. How to extend your success to 6 continents. There may be a book. And I think this is exactly the thought I had during my meditation this morning. Hi, Rama Rama. Instead of it, whether it is you with your hope and desire, she with her hope and desire, me with my hope and desire, instead of indulging in the various prospects and possibilities, can we examine what is this mind up to? What is the structure of this thought? What is this conditioning behind this thought? Instead of 1,000 other thoughts, why am I thinking of wealth? Why am I thinking of fame? Why am I thinking of these relatives having to know who I am? Uncertain. There, it is very close to who am I. Without going, today our topic is not who am I as an inquiry, but to go into the depths of who am I, one has to see the sad limitations of the present structure of I. If I think of myself as being on a certain level in, let's say, in the corporate ladder, if I say, I am here, that is what I am, and I want to be there, that's what I want to become. Maharshi Ramana says, hold on, before you go to what you want to become, you have presently an idea, I am this, I am here. Are you really this? Find out who you truly are. So, that is so close. So, watching the idea of what I am and questioning who am I are thus closely interrelated. And this discussion, therefore, on nature of time, nature of space is intimately related to the essential and the most prominent teaching of Bhagavan, Nanyar. Find out who you are. So this shloka says, Hasyana kim syad gata bhavi charcha. Gata is past, bhavi is future. And he gives a little analogy. Someone never knew counting, starting with 1, and he straight away wants to learn advanced counting, 25 onwards. Counting begins with 1. So last line of the shloka, Vina eka sankhya, the number 1, ganana. Does counting have any meaning at all? I once heard a joke. Somebody was asked to count a bundle of currency notes. An uncle said to his nephew, just take a look at it. Are there 100? He said, okay. He started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uncle was doing something but keeping an eye, hearing that. 1, 2, 3, then going on and 50, 60, etc. 88, 89, the nephew was counting. And 93, the uncle was happy. My nephew is listening to me and doing the job. 96, and uncle, this is okay. The uncle said, I was hearing you are counting. You said up to 96. You didn't check up to 100. So where did you verify? The nephew said, see, it's okay up to 96. It has to be okay later on also. If it's all right up to 96, all the way till 96, it should be okay. See, how foolish. That is one other end there is problem. And some other person simply leaves out 1 or 1 and 2 and so on. Hasyana kim syat gatabhavi charcha vina eka sankhyaam ganana iva loke. Just as in this world, in the mundane world, counting without knowing number 1 is ludicrous, is laughable. Likewise, he is advising all of us with a lot of sympathy. Of course, hearing this or listening to a spiritual discourse where it is said, be in the present, it doesn't mean that we don't plan at all or we don't learn from past. It has its place. But are we doing just that only? Are we caught in the pravaha of this past and future that we are always impatient about the present? If somebody says, look here, what a beautiful drawing our daughter has made. All that you handle, I have important things to do. If someone says, the spouse, let us say, husband or wife. If husband says, look here, so beautiful, the wife is impatient. Or the wife says, look here, husband is impatient, and no gender bias. Anybody, any team. Not that all the time you must be doing it. But why are you so restless? Why are you so impatient? In fact, if you earn a lot but you don't enjoy life, where is the point? What is that expression in English? Nowadays we have no time to smell the roses. The roses have bloomed, but we have no time to smell the roses. There are so many idioms, so many phrases. So, being aware of the present is very critical in spiritual awakening. Getting lost in future, getting frantic. Andy Grove, one of the key early leaders of Intel, was known for a statement: only paranoids succeed. Only paranoids succeed. In fact, I confess, in the early 90s when I came here, somebody gave me that. Intel, right here in Santa Clara. Andy Grove was alive at that time. He was heading, I think, everything that time. Later on, slowly he stepped down. They said, so, Swamiji, you talk about Karma Yoga. Don't be concerned with the results of action. Do your job well. Leave everything to God. But our man here, Andy Grove, says, only paranoids succeed. And I sort of vehemently opposed it. No, Andy Grove is not right, our Krishna is right, and so on. Even today I do have a certain objection to that statement. But in the transactional world, within the frame of reference of efficiency, this and that, and also with taking that word paranoid not literally, as per the context if you take, there is certain truth in it. That is, the better word, politically correct word for that is not paranoids, passionate is the best word. Those who are passionate, a scientist who at night 2 a.m. gets up and suddenly has an interesting thought. Maybe if I, instead of sulfur, if I put chlorine there, that experiment may come off well. And he immediately takes his car out, goes to the lab, and last few days he was trying something with sulfur. He puts chlorine because some kind of gut feeling, some kind of insight came to him. And maybe it succeeds or maybe it doesn't. Whatever it is, some people with that kind of passion, his or her spouse and others may say, are you mad? If 2:30 you have an idea, you jot it down. And tomorrow when you go to office, go to lab at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, you try it out. Where was the need for you to go at 2:30 a.m. to drive to the lab and test it out? But you know that so many great achievers were so passionate, science or music, language or any other thing. When an idea strikes them, they cannot resist. So in that sense, if Andy Grove meant only paranoids succeed, he himself was paranoidal. Having raised his name, taken or having referred to him, there is an instance where I think he went to Singapore or somewhere and the Intel team told him, Andy, or I don't know how they call, Mr. Grove, we are happy to tell you that 83% of market share in Far East Asia is with Intel. At that time, AMD and so many other, all of them have only 17. Intel has 83%. Rather than saying, Kai, very good, that's how we got to be. He said, how did the 17% go somewhere else? Who took the other 17? This is paranoidal behavior. Maybe he said it with a little humor also, we don't know. We cannot jump to a conclusion. So, we don't say staying in present, I'll make this clarification and go to the next shloka, doesn't mean that you ignore your work or your family or a number of scenarios where you need to think and do something. Some guests are coming tomorrow. Do we have everything at our home? Don't say, don't think about those guests and tomorrow and so on. Be in the present. Then there will be big trouble. So you have to make a wise dividing line. As I said before also, we are not to get stuck in thoughts of past and future. We must make room for enjoying the present, being aware of the present, and a certain effort on our part to understand this inside of a thought rather than what we should do following a thought. The thought inside it has certain, in software language, certain bugs. So we must debug the thought itself. And in quite a lot of, likelihood, so many of our worries, fears just dissolve away. Generally we have a fear and we don't know how to, or we generally concern ourselves with how to do something so that this dreaded thing, feared thing won't happen. But if you are more skillful in being in the present, the fear itself disappears. The fear disappears. And even if the worst scenario, comes before you, quite possibly because of that inner cleansing, you will say, I know, that also can happen, but I am ready for it. In fact, I welcome it. In fact, I will, if the worst, so-called what you are calling as the worst happens, I think I see an opportunity in it. And so on. Such creative insights, such out-of-box insights can come to you if you stay with the present and not hurriedly go into the future and try to do something about it. Continuing this light on time, in the second shloka we selected, Maharshi takes both this time and space together. He says, Kva bhati dikkala katha. Dikkala katha. What was called charcha before is katha here, talking. Katha, kathayati means says, talks, narrates. So you and I talk about space and time, maybe on scientific plane or just on mundane plane. Oh, we went to that house, what a spacious house. And we went to that program, everything was good, but it was too long. So we have these ideas of long, short, big, small, and so on. The Swami Chidananda had his own humor, Once some of us were behind him when they visited a family in Worli in Bombay. Generally, Swamis go and there are a few people. The family has 4 members, 6 members, 8 members. And maybe there's some satsang, some prasad. That particular Sindhi family, it can be any other, was such a huge family. All the cousins and nephews and brothers and sisters and in-laws, etc. put together, it came to some 72 people or so. All are nearby. That day they had gathered. And Swamiji said to them, normally I visit families. Today I have come to a community. You are not a family, you are a community. He would make people laugh. So space and time, let me come back to space and time. Sri Maharshi says, Dikkala Katha, all talk about space. Dik is space, Dishaha, and Kala is time. All talk about space and time. Well, how can such talk be without us? First it will be very puzzling. Anybody would say, what do we have to, whether we are there or not, this space is. That is the normal thinking. Space and time don't depend on us. But Vedanta, the Upanishadic wisdom, and Maharshi Ramana's light on that, turns everything upside down. Brahma is Brahma of the nature of Sat-Chit. That is. And space and time come and go. The worldly thinking is, world is, the universe is, we come and go. But the Upanishadic insight is, you are Brahman. The body, yes, comes and goes. But as Brahman, you don't come and go. you are. And bodies come and go, so-called others come and go, so-called space and time come and go. If you as Brahman were not to be, which is not a possibility, but for logic's sake, if you as Brahman were not to be, nothing can exist at all. And then this space that you perceive, far and near, is highly relative to how you perceive yourself. Some of you, when you are elementary school children, would have enjoyed a certain play field in your school, let us say, gone from this end to that end and run again from that end to this end and come home and said, we love playing in that vast play field of our school. And maybe you didn't go to your small town for last 50 years. Please go now and see. What appeared big that time, looks so small. How did it become small? You were small and that field looked so big. Number one. Number two, those days, maybe growing up in a small town, you had not seen enough life. Later on you went, maybe in India itself, you saw the huge cricket fields, in Bombay, or Wankhede Stadium, or what's that in Kolkata? Eden Gardens. So you went on tour and you saw huge fields, huge maidans, and you saw more of life. After many years, if you go to your town and you want to visit your elementary school, was it this small those days? Because the small and big, far and near, or long time and short time are all in the mind, and they have much to do with how you see yourself. Asman vina, without a certain picture of who I am, how can there be space and time? I am this, then I have certain thoughts, and these give reality to space and time. Dikkala Leela, second line of the shloka says, this game, this whole business of Dik and Kala, space and time, has its validity if you and I are the body. Because this I thought, aham vritti, is generally centered in the body. It is valid. It is valid, in transmigration, going from one life to another, etc. It's valid in relation to the Sukshma Sharira also, though that is also a body. But if we take the word Vapu, Dikkala Leela Iha Vapurvayam Chet. Chet means if. If we are Vapu, body, then the discussion, then the stock of Dik and Kala is valid. Are we the body? In fact, the word body can be taken on different levels. The gross body, or the subtle body, or whatever, all the thoughts that you have about yourself put together. That is your body. And the wisdom here says, you are not what your thoughts put together and, give you an idea. Your thoughts, which are born of memories, put together one fine morning, you get certain thoughts. And the thoughts say, look, 10 years ago your net worth was so much. 5 years ago it came to half. These are facts, okay, the thought says. Now a year ago it has come to 1/10 of what you had 10 years ago. At this rate, you are sinking. You are in trouble. Thoughts create a story. Then, as you make a cup of coffee for yourself and sit in the balcony, your heart is sinking. I am so poor. I am in danger now, etc. Another morning, thoughts may pick up some other aspect, because life is much more than the money you have in the bank. Life is much more than your health also. Yes, many components make life, right? Thoughts pick on one area and do their noise. So, Vapu means, I would give a broader meaning to this Vapuhu, body, that idea of who I am put together by thought, not the truth of who you are. So, going by the idea of what you are, space gets as though strength. You breathe life into space, you breathe life into time. Dikkala leela iha vapurvayam chet. Now he gives another, throws another bombshell, we must say. All along Saddarshanam, there are so many of these spiritual bombshells. They shake you up. Wait a minute. You feel like just to stay with that insight because they give an entirely different outlook, out of box thinking. So the second part of this 18th sloka says, in one sense, that one sense is in as much as that ego is false. My ego is false. In that sense, the line goes in Sanskrit, na kvapi bhamo, na kadapi bhamaha. Kva means where and kvapi means nowhere. I mean, na, we along with na. Kvapi means anywhere. Na kvapi, nowhere. We don't appear anywhere at all because the ego is false. Na kadapi bhamaha. Since the ego is false, what we mistake ourselves to be is a mere image. It's something put together by thought. It doesn't have real reality to it. Really, nowhere in space is one spread, nowhere in time is another spread. You and I say, I tell you, 2018 this happened, I was at Kanpur. Then we say, by 2023 I should be moving to UK for your information. I will be settling right in heart of London. So we talk of 2018, 2023 and over here in London. This is all what thought takes us. But if you and I are free of thought and on a deeper level, if you and I are free of we as a personality, that idea. Generally our idea of personality then gets further enhanced, it gets further increased by ideas of what caste, what age, what community, what qualification, where I studied, whom I married, whom I should have married, and so on and so forth. 1,000 thoughts come and build this picture of I. And when Maharshi asks us to ask, who am I? Nan yar. That Nan is not the absolute Nan. That doesn't need to be questioned. That Nan, that I, is this structure made of thoughts, of memories. Therefore here he says, as regards this structure, and if you understand it is false, you are neither in London nor here. You neither lose nor win. You neither get insulted ever, nor do you get praised ever. Because the one that is insulted is ego. You are not the ego. Na kvapi bhamaha, na kadapi bhamaha. And when you appreciate the Brahma Tattva and you have insight into your being Brahma, Brahma is everywhere. The fourth line says, Vayam tu sarvatra, everywhere. Sadacha bhamaha. And at all time. At all time and in all places I am. There is no London except for the consciousness. London is in Brahman and I am that Brahman. So the third and fourth line are in sharp contrast. We are nowhere, we are at no time, third line. We are everywhere, we are at all time. As Brahma we are all pervasive. As the ego, considering it is a myth, we are nowhere at all. If you have a high spiritual maturity, you went and some people talked ill of you, you came home and I come to sympathize. I'm so sorry to hear. If you have spiritual maturity, you will smile and say, what? What happened? Why are you trying to console me? I heard from others who were there. You were insulted. No, nothing. They had to say something, they said, nothing has happened here. I wasn't there. So that is the idea of na kvapi bhama. I wasn't there. They said, yeah, they said some things. I wasn't there. There was nobody to receive them, nobody to get, take the punch. They punched. But here, as though it was empty space. Right? That's the idea. Na kvapi bhamo, na kadapi bhamo, vayam tu sarvatra sadacha bhamaha. Let me conclude reciting these two since you don't have a copy. Then I open the session for any questions, if I hope there is some time. The two shlokas we saw, 17 and 18, from this masterpiece called Saddarshanam, Bhutam bhavishyatcha bhavat swakale tadvartamanasya vihaya tattvam hasyana kim syad gata bhavi charcha vinaika sankhyaam gananeva loke kvabati dikkala katha vinasman dikkala lileha vapurvayanchet na kvapi bhamo na kadapi bhamo vayantu sarvatra sadacha bhamaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. I guess we have some 10 minutes for questions and answers. Easy.
Anyone wants to ask the question? A question?
Yes. Prashant, right? Prashant.
Yeah. Not directly related to
No
this,
problem.
but like generally when I read Raman Maharshi's literature,
Yeah.
I see him discouraging detailed study of Advaita Vedanta,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
that you can directly go to the source and
Yeah.
that way
Yeah.
reach your goal.
Correct.
So in your life, like you have been
Yes.
attracted to both. So what's your opinion or suggestion for like most people?
Yes. In fact, Sri Ramakrishna of the 20th century, 19th century, Sri Ramakrishna of 19th century and Ramana Maharshi of 20th century. Ramakrishna was a great champion of bhakti through his own personal life. Ramana was a great champion of jnana. Both of them discouraged students or seekers, their followers, from getting unnecessarily into too much bookish study. They said, get the essence. Then they used the word practice. They used the word practice, and we should take that in the right spirit. Some people criticize such teaching as, see, practice means doing the same thing mechanical. You can't come upon the supreme truth by doing something mechanically. Such criticism is thrown at Maharshi and Ramakrishna and all. I don't buy into it. I say, though they might have used some words, abhyas or something, there is enough, more than enough evidence that these two great masters were so clear about the whole matter, about the truth. Maybe they were not academicians, they were not, Shastris who go on refining their words. But using the word abhyasa, what they meant was not repeating something mechanically, but being free again and again as an enclosure, as a boundary of thought arises, dismiss it. And they threw light on the nature of practice in their own way. So coming more again to the question directly, my own experience has been, they are Maharshi, let's stick to Maharshi. Maharshi has to be understood as discouraging us from getting stuck in trying to know the meaning of this phrase or trying to counter an argument of somebody. You don't have that doubt. 3 days you struggle to understand the doubt of somebody, then another 4 days to understand the answer. All these are there in Shastra Charcha. And a number of those doubts perhaps are not relevant to you. In that sense, we use this expression, you get stuck there. Not to mention somebody, after studying Vedanta for a while feels, my whole shortcoming is my Sanskrit is not strong. So I am going to such and such place, and 4 years I will just devote to Sanskrit and so on. Those things are criticized. Just as Bhajagovindam has nahi nahi rakshati dukkrinj karane. Shankara is attributed to Shankara. So that is how we have to appreciate it. But then there is the issue of Swadharma. Some of us, let us say, are made in such a way that we don't get stuck. We are confident. We, on the contrary, we derive certain inspiration. We derive certain strength from Shastra Adhyayana. Then it is possible and it is desirable to keep Shastra Adhyayana, study of scripture, study of Vedanta, in its right place, in line with your Swadharma. In line your Swadharma. You know this, you live alone spiritual field, in work also. Generally we believe that if you give a man certain work, that will tire him down. Because doing work, the general sense is we get tired. But actually, you know that if you give a man means lady also, a work which he enjoys, rather than tiring him down, it releases new energy. Some time back, in a certain setting, we were looking for who can handle a certain responsibility. And there was a 72-year-old woman running around, walking around in the campus. And one of our team members said, why not ask her to look after? I was the one who said, no, she is 72, put some younger person. And that other guy who was an IAS officer said to me, Swamiji, just because she is 72, don't say, she is not appropriate. I have a gut feeling she has the abilities for this work. Some running of a little school for poor people. I said, all right. She was actually looking so weak and moving so slowly, etc. When made her the principal of that village school over there, what energy came out from her? In fact, I was also holding some position there. The only complaint I had after that, was this lady became so active, every half an hour she would come with a proposal. Can we do that? And because officially I had some position, I had to approve or sign or something. I said, before there were inefficient people, my life was so good. After we put the 72-year-old weak woman there, because it was her Swadharma. Once one is given one Swadharma, rather than exhausting or leaving you tired, it releases energy. And not only just meaningless energy, or not just meaningless energy, that place got better in 6 months. I'll conclude this reference. One of the senior teachers in that school later came to me and said, after this lady came, and the lady held that position for 18 months. In 18 months, she did what was not done in 18 years. That was the compliment given. Now, coming back to Shastra Adhyayana, many of us have a certain Swadharma that goes into Shastra Adhyayana. It doesn't lead us to getting stuck. If you feel honestly that this is not causing me to get stuck, on the contrary, it complements, it nurtures, then we may. Whereas for one person whose Swadharma it is to enjoy Shastra Adhyayana, and rather than getting stuck, get going, there will be 100 who simply imitate. Oh, these people, after Isha and Kena, they are going to Brihadaranyaka. I am lagging behind. I must also race now. I must also study Brihadaranyaka. And so on. That is misnomer. You don't need more and more books. Therefore, Maharshi, Ramakrishna, etc. perhaps saw many cases of people simply blindly following like a trend, we must attend these classes, we must attend those classes. Those people were told, not for you. Let those who are good in those things, let them do it. I don't think Maharshi Ramana said in strong terms to Ganapati Muni and so on. He sort of. In fact, one of the inspiring incidents is he encouraged Ganapati Muni to write what was called Uma Sahasram. And it is, of course, a miraculous and supernatural feat. Whole night Maharshi maybe in his 30s that time, sat outside and Ganapati Muni was writing, and in a single night he wrote 1000 shlokas, not all anushtup, various meters, various metaphors, various poetic and literary constructions. And later Ganapati Muni was in tears and he confessed. He said, yes, I wrote 1000 shlokas. That is called Uma Sahasram. There's a composition. And he said, I did not write. That man sitting outside wrote it through me. These are the miraculous and unbelievable feats. So rather than dissuading someone like Ganapati Muni, in whose blood that Shastra was there, he was a Shastri. In this example, perhaps we can see that Maharshi encouraged him. I want you to write. I am with you. So Maharshi could have gone to sleep and next morning said, Acha, you have finished writing. No. He just sat. He had really otherwise no role to play. He just sat, I believe, in some kind of spiritually exalted state. If we would imagine some vibrations. Other day, my sister and brother-in-law, they are devotees of Satya Sai Baba. They say to me that some Gujarati man, Shah is it? He was given the power to speak, to translate Telugu by Satya Sai Baba. You showed me that. Shah.
Indulal Shah.
Indulal Shah. Indulal Shah was asked by Satya Sai Baba, I am going to speak in Telugu, you translate in Hindi or English. He said, I don't know Telugu, I am a Gujarati man. You can translate, come on. And Swami, as they call him, Satya Sai Baba spoke in Telugu. And those 20 minutes or whatever, Indulal Shah would hear every sentence and translate it into English. And when he came down the platform, somebody asked some question in Telugu. He said, what did you say? So these are, anyway, coming back, it's not for all, but to a large number who get stuck. So the one question that you and I ask ourselves is, am I getting stuck in the name of Shastra Adhyayana? Then, so Maharshi is so right. I don't need. I will go by. Essentials are he never said, neither Ramakrishna nor Ramana said, don't touch scriptures. They said, get the essentials and don't get into so many details. Leave it to people like me, are into this. We are sort of some kind of Shastris, we are teachers. So we go to Brahma Sutra, Shankara Bhashya, then if there is some objection by somebody, some Tika, Anandagiri Tika, we are going to that also. We have some kind of Swadharma in it. So Swadharma is never discouraged. Blind imitation is discouraged thereby. That's what I feel. Yeah.
So Swamiji, you started out with that statement, I'm kind of paraphrasing, that we see everyone die but we don't feel or believe that we are going to die.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, somewhere in our deep ignorance of body-mind, we actually have the truth inherent inside that we relate to that Brahman which doesn't die.
Correct.
And even though the body-mind will wither away, we will not die.
That's well said. Why every one of us believes we will not die, others of course will, is according to her, is a certain intuitive sense within us of our being Brahman, which doesn't die. That's a good explanation. I have also come across that explanation given by some teachers. But the mistake would be we believe we would not die and we would remain this person only. As Brahman we would not die, we would not. We will say, I won't die and I will be holding this manager's position or that principal's position, etc. That is an error. There's a mix-up there. Anyone this side? Any comment or some kind of mild constructive criticism is welcome.
Nuladanarpad itself, Bhagavan at least seems to
It is
suggest that.
Narpadu or Napatu? Oh, R is there.
Yes.
Narpad. Oh, okay. Only Narpad.
But that is colloquial Tamil, they say Napadu.
Ah,
Local Tamil is Napadu.
correct. Sorry. So in Ullaga Narpadu also you said.
He seems to suggest trying to give a name to I am as Brahman. Is itself not necessary, or he at least has a verse that suggests that.
Trying to give a name.
That I am Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi,
Ah.
is also not required. I am is enough. He seems to suggest. Have you?
Oh, let me see which. I'm very familiar with all the 40 verses.
They are more familiar.
So I'm wondering which.
மறைகள் ஆத்திரமும் தன்னை எதிர்ந்து தாம் தேர்ந்திராது அது
Number, what is the number?
Numbers also, I'm not sure whether they correspond to the numbers. Even if they are one or two up or down, we can figure out.
then that is the 32nd verse.
Here in Tamil.
You got it?
32nd.
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 Okay. You have the Sanskrit here? I had as an attachment, but that cannot be opened. Yeah, I sent to you, right? If you open that word attachment, if anybody wants with English translation, we have the Sanskrit version, all 44 with English translation here. 36, let's see what it is. You got 36?
Yeah.
32.
Oh, yeah, you also got it in the group, yeah.
Which one? I have 32 here. I don't know which one.
36 they are saying.
32 Swamiji.
32 you said.
Yes. 33.
This is the... that doesn't seem to be
No, that doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, 32 here is Gaveshan, but I'm already guessing
Maybe I'm.
it could be 35. In the Sanskrit version it says, to say I know myself, to say I do not know is a joke. Are there two eyes? One eye to, that's one, it comes somewhat near. But there is one more where it says, does a man have to sit and remind himself, I am a man, I am a man? There's one of the
No, the one before the first one you
It
explained.
says the Vedanta says that you are, I am that, you are that.
Yeah.
Okay.
34. Right?
Yeah.
34.
That is, the Veda says Tattvamasi,
Yeah.
and yet people fail to stay as the pure self, and they go on thinking. So the original might have put it this way. They only repeat I am Brahman.
Namayam Brahman.
It's not about saying I am Brahman, rather it is about being what you are. Well, that comes very close. The Sanskrit says, Ahasputam Tattvamasi iti Veda. Veda has very clearly said, Tattvamasi, you are that. Yet, Paratmanishtam asamprapya, without gaining abidance over there, Bhuyo vicharaha, being busy in verbal activity. So, Aham Brahmasmi, to say Aham Brahmasmi is a verbal activity. So, stop going round and round in a verbal activity, just be. That has the distinct flavor also of Maharshi's teachings. So, I think that is the one. That's why some people said Ganapati Muni, poetry wise and ease of singing wise, this is the best. But Lakshman Sharma, in fact, you can, is it called Hridaya? There's some name for it. There's a Lakshmana Sharma, who?
Yeah.
His translation of Ullad Narpal. There you see corresponding. Maybe there, taking more letters, he has done justice to the original. Maybe that idea, but why do you just say Aham Brahmasmi? Perhaps is missed out in this.
Yes.
But the spirit comes very close. Sometimes for brevity, you'll have to lose a little information. Take as many words as you want, but express what you want to express is another approach. Lakshman Sharma seems to have done that. I have studied 2 or 3 shlokas in that work, and they were amazing. I too felt very good. This puts it so much more clearly than this Sadarshanam, which This is the version which some of us have studied in detail, talked on it, conducted classes, etc. Yeah.
So what's the achievement of that? In fact, the word achievement itself, like again, that. And so the practicing versus like reading scriptures and understanding, like we had discussed. Right?
Yeah.
Practicing required more internalizing the things, and whereas the reading and like going by words or something. These two paths, right? Like kind of intellectually Korean or
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So, in your experience, such a long
Yeah,
time.
no problem.
Yeah, which one is the? I mean, is kind of more practical or kind of, or kind of one can enhance them.
There is a subtlety here. Once more I would use the word swadharma. For those who have certain swadharma about Shastradhyayana, that going about the so-called words doesn't remain just going about words. The words open up to them so much more, they are led towards silence. Therefore, they vociferously advocate Shastra, then everyone must do it, because they experienced great bliss. The words, open up and they go to a certain silence. When a line from this text says, let us say, unbiased outlook, a seeing with no prejudice, with no likes and dislikes, some words, let's say. Those who have a certain resonance, the resonance with those scriptures, not only put it in the head, but start experiencing, looking at everybody, looking around with no likes or dislikes. Whereas to a larger number who don't have that much of ability to go to depths through language, it's better if they don't struggle anymore in books. They got one or two sentences, and then maybe out of devotion to a great master, maybe with certain other inspiration, or maybe in the room they turn on Om, Om, that gives them. Because what lifts us is not same in all people. Some of us get very uplifted by just a symbol. We all have a lot of conditionings, right? Suppose one of you or some of you have a special admiration to, Periyava, Paramacharya. And here, suppose there were a picture with Swami Chandrasekhara Saraswati of Kanchi, Periyava. With just a small piece of cloth, very lean and, holding a staff. If you have the conditioning, you have the faith, you have a certain sense of awe about him, with that picture over there, with Arunachala and Ramana over here, and you will say this was the best time I had. Somebody else, my God, I don't know whether I should tell you this. My another older sister in Lalita, in Bangalore, had a calendar of Ramana Maharshi on the wall, because we all have great regard. One neighbor, a good friend of hers, came the day this Lalitaka had put that picture. Please remove this, what is this? You are having somebody with a loin cloth and so on. She saw it just as some man with a loin cloth. And for her it was so repulsive, that neighbor. Akka did not remove it, but she said, oh, that Sarojamma was so unhappy that I put this picture. She doesn't know who Ramana Maharshi is. So conditionings. Therefore, depending on conditionings, check out for yourself. Again, like earlier, earlier we said, ask yourself, am I getting stuck without moving further? Then stop scriptures. Here too, are these shlokas and mantras or some Purvapakshi Siddhanta discussion in Shankara Bhashya making my heart go more and more dry? Then say Namaste. But somewhere you find, this is so wonderful. And I know this is not just grammar or some kind of language improvement. There's an insight into, then go ahead.
This is kind of building on that.
Please, please.
And then by the same token, this notion of Sharanagati, where
Yeah,
bhakti
surrender.
is everything,
Correct.
it's neither jnanam nor inquiry. How do you put that in context with, because sometimes you feel like just saying, that's it, I've
Yeah.
done enough inquiry, just let me give everything up.
Yeah, yeah.
So I just like your thoughts on that.
Correct. It's not jnana, it's not inquiry. It, on the surface, Sharanagati belongs to the domain of bhakti.
Yeah.
Lord, I belong to you, do whatever you want with me. Lift me if you wish to lift me, or leave me in the world if that is your wish, that kind of that has the strong flavor, the strong fragrance of bhakti. But it is rightly said by great thinkers that bhakti also, as it gets more and more mature, is no different from jnana. Because the mindset or the mental atmosphere of a person who says, I surrender to you, I have no more demand, no more insistence, I don't even ask you, Lord, that I should be liberated. Even if I have to remain unliberated for another 10 lives, if that is your wish, so be it. Suppose to say that, there has to be a jnana. There has to be, unless the person has a certain intuitive sense of, once I have love of Ramana or love of Shiva, love of Vishnu, I don't need any other liberation. This itself is such a liberating feeling. Sometimes you and I, in the worldly context also, we adore somebody. And that person whom you adore, even in wealth-wise, wow, so rich and so accomplished, gives you a surprise. He suddenly rings you up and says, I met you other day in that get-together. Would you like to come and join me as my manager in here? What? I'm going to work for him, I'll be with him. You feel so good, right? Like a parallel. So, that adoration of God or Guru and saying, I belong to him, already fills this person with so much joy. It is not just emotion. There is an understanding of how great he is. In that sense, though it has the facade of bhakti, it is jnana. So maybe Meera, who went around singing praise of Krishna, and the Tulsi, the Surdas, or the, so many, everywhere there are great saints. I am fond of quoting, though I know very little about him, Arunagirinathar. Yesterday in the lecture also I wondered, is his work called
Tiruppugal.
Correct. I think I quoted rightly. I was not sure. Tiruppugal. So his story is very inspiring. So I would say in this context, Arunagirinathar would go around and praise Muruga, Kartikeya, and it has the packaging of bhakti. But I am very sure that he had tremendous understanding who Muruga is. Muruga is not just, all of us, when moment Muruga is said, we have some picture. So the picture, the concept, the visualization, the appreciation that Arunagirinathar had of Muruga as he went round is way, a sea of difference between his understanding, jnana. So there is a support of jnana for that bhakti. That is what we would say. So Sharanagati is superficially bhakti, but inside it is jnana. Yeah, Prashant again, because nobody is asked, the opening batsman again. He is at the crease.
Still not out.
Not out. Yes, Prashant.
Thank you. So, in terms of getting the understanding that Maharshi suggests or the Vedanta suggests, does the final understanding come as a mystical experience, or can it come as a series of insights, like when we see that space and time are kind of illusion, or things like that, that when they talk about it, they talk like it's first-hand knowledge for them.
Yeah.
It's not a logical conclusion. So when it becomes such a clear understanding, and does it come as a series of insights or maybe one big mystical experience?
I would say in 999 cases, there are a lot of bouts and lot of insights, series of insights, culminating. But every now and then we find somebody who was utterly materialistic turning into a saint. So there, not that everything happened overnight. Maybe this person who apparently changed overnight had all the samagri, material for those insights which otherwise take place over a length of time, kind of ripening in him, and they were set on fire at one go. Like Diwali, you bring 20 crackers, you call it, firecrackers. You burn one, after 2 minutes burn another, that's one way. Or you can put all of them in a circle and take a candle light and go to distance and watch. All of them will, So this person, subconscious or unconscious, must have so much of, preparedness for varieties of illusions and delusions to go. Preparation. And one firing. And that way there are cases. But more often you and I, in certain contexts, suppose I had a hang up with money, some experiences and some satsanga removes my obsession or attachment to money. But some other attachments still continue. That goes away in another insight. Generally, more often it is, there's a lot of ripening. Because there is an expression, Sakala guna sampannaha eka guna hina. All of us are like that. We are good in 20 ways, but every one of us would have one weakness. Our heart knows it, those who are close to us know it, one weakness. That way. Somebody here? Yeah, Renuka.
So Bhagwan's message is Chamayade,
Correct.
stay quiet. So what is your recommendation in this noisy world to get to that inner stillness and quietude? Always a struggle for me.
Yeah. In this noisy world, in this very, very fast-paced world, there is nobody among us who cannot take out a little time. I used to say 20 minutes. Nowadays I say 18 minutes concession. 18 is a holy number also, right? 18 chapters in Gita and so on.
Incremental decrease.
Incremental decrease. So every one of us can take out, if not early morning is the best, but without further postponement, not keeping it to the last when you are a dying duck, Oh my, I'll do it anyhow. And there's no energy. So you take 18 minutes and do what actually gives you the strength. To some of us, again Swadharma, some of us a bit of study helps. Some of us it is maybe Nama Japa. For somebody else again, yet another practice, who am I? Or sitting quietly. There are some who somehow don't have feeling for God or mantra or anything. We sometimes advise them, can you listen to some instrumental music? Listen to a flute. And for that 18 minutes, just to be attentive to that. Of course, thoughts will arise. You don't support the thoughts. It is one thing for you to have thought rising and quite another to, go behind it. Add fuel to the fire, as they say. So practice the sadhana of watching thoughts and listening to some instrumental music without adding fuel to the fire. Don't encourage any thought. If it is a very compelling thought, sometimes you suddenly remember something very important. You may jot down. Not for everything. Everything is important, don't say. But you say this is the last deadline for some tax or something, better you note down. Then also, please don't interrupt that 18 minutes of sadhana to go and work on it. jot it down, and after 18 minutes are over, get down to it. That is a discipline you and I have to follow.
Bhagavan says Arituil. Arituil meaning sleepless sleep.
Oh.
Okay, Arituil.
I see, that's the Tamil word.
Now, the question is, when you quieten your mind,
Yeah.
it goes to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
So how does one break that?
Yes. So when we quieten, you are so right. Many of us, if we quieten our mind, we go to sleep, which only shows that we haven't acquired the skill, adequately. Therefore, we must try in short periods of time, just 10 minutes or so, because more than that, we go to sleep. So we try for 10 minutes, rise a little, then as we are about to go to sleep, we know that this is not going to go further higher, but even higher, but it stays here. Go for some chanting or pace the room. There was a brahmachari who said, I can't get up early, even if I give myself 6, 7, 8 hours, I can't get up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. And Swami Chidananda said to him, do one thing, for my sake you do this. Find out how many hours you need, 7 hours let us say. So go at 9:30 itself. So 7 hours, 4:30, you've given the body enough rest. But then that laziness, etc. The advice given was, he said, for my sake, when you get up, you face the room, say Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram 21 times. In spite of it, after that also if you have sleep, go sleep. And that brahmachari, tried it. And he says, all I had to handle was not laziness as such, not sleepiness as such. It is that 1 minute of temptation, 1 minute of, that time it looks like I am dying, I need sleep. If I don't get up and get going, I think whole day I will be not cheerful. Mind like a devil's advocate or whoever, all are given. That person, that brahmachari, he himself said to me, after that, he is able to get up even at 4:30 or such early time. Of course, he gives himself enough rest. Then, I also thought over it, I also tried this thing. It is something like, this defragmentation in computers. When your data, isn't it? It's all scattered, then it looks like there is no space. But if you defragment, that is, you organize things, there's a lot of space in your hard drive or wherever. Likewise, the sleep is like that. If you allow, your body will ask you to sleep afternoon also, evening also, night also. And most of the time, you needed 5 minutes sleep, but once you went to the bed, you will lie there for 2 hours. It's like fragmentation. So you defragment it with a little discipline, with a little prodding. You ensure that the 6 hours you need are done during a certain time. Then another 18 hours you will be fresh. So the sleepiness has to be handled very cleverly by giving us a little distraction. That advice was to say Sri Ram, Jai Jai Ram some 21 times, and then whatever you want to do. It won't. In fact, once you really wake up after that 21 Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, you say, I don't know, even if the whole world says go rest again, I don't want to. I'm feeling like doing something. So many ideas come. Let me clean the kitchen. Let me go have a coffee. Let me start reading. So many other opposite ideas come. A while ago, all that your heart said was, not today, start all this sadhana from next month. Very funny. So you have to handle this funny mind with some little techniques. But being compassionate to the true needs.
It's kind of like entirely different situation.
Yeah.
It's not, you can make it as a art, you can do some comments. I little bit deviate from the spiritual things. So India is so many spiritual giants like Ramana, Ramakrishna, and endless names are there.
Correct.
So their influence and thoughts certainly driven into the many peoples and
Correct.
trickle down.
Yeah.
But socially, our ethics are not so.
I know, that is a sad thing. Yeah.
Okay, so whereas here, because many of us now,
Correct.
yes, and
Correct, we
came
see
for
it.
material things, at least certain values and ethics are there. No such kind of great influence of our thoughts are there. So what do you think about what is missing in this one actually? So if someone has really practicing this kind of social, spiritual ethos and stuff, it should reflects on your external things. It doesn't happen. In fact, interestingly, 3-4 days ago, that Joe Biden, I'm not going into the politics
Yeah,
or
Joe
something.
Biden, yeah.
This is very well said, some critic question. He said, it's kind of certain truth is age brings experience brings wisdom brings knowledge, and knowledge goes to the judgmental or something. So such kind of things, at least certain level of experience and age brought some certain kind of thing. But that doesn't show or exhibit in India, even people are 60 or 70 or something, so greedy or something, but they are regularly going pujas and stuff, all on these things. But didn't come into the things it's completely different. So,
This is a huge and big topic.
I
Actually-
just want
Correct. But I will only draw your attention to another side of this matter. Yesterday someone was saying, there was somebody, a white guy, 100 years ago or 200 years ago, who was extremely cruel to the slaves and so on. But he was an excellent husband, excellent father. If his son fell down, if his daughter has difficulty in studies, this man would be with the daughter or son to help them, sacrificing his own personal comfort and everything. When it came to the slave, when it came to some blacks working, etc., ruthless. If somebody didn't job, they would be punished in. So we need not corner white people or anybody. The human mind is very tricky. It actually cultivates certain behavioral patterns, and this so-called honesty and ethics, etc., in this society is a compartmentalized cultivation. It is not a deep transformation, but it makes a difference though, because day in and day out we buy things, we sell things, we go to bank, we go to post office, we do many things. Everywhere it is so neat here, no hassles and punctuality, etc., generally. But the whole of life is much more than that, and these people have their own issues, their own relationship issues, loneliness issues, etc., because this so-called goodness in them is not a 360-degree goodness, but they have goodness in a certain, let's say, having said 360 degrees, they have degrees goodness, let's say, in some 150 degrees. We come across that domain so much, and therefore we tend to evaluate. And our corruption is also 360-degree corruption. Those people have...
I'm worrying about not these people. Why we have basic knowledge and basic understanding.
Yeah.
And the gene, it is 5,000 years, kind of we are practicing, right? That's one my first question, practicing versus kind of adapting, right? So kind of why this gene is missing, what happens kind of,
Actually, it's a wild goose chase. Going by Bhagavan's teachings also, it would be better for us, especially as we get older. It's better to go to the root of matters. What can change us 360 degrees? What can change us at the root level, as applicable to us and as applicable to people? Where required, we would guide them in specific areas. Otherwise, this is the Ramabana. So, love of God or self-inquiry, etc., will root out the very source of evil at the very basic level. Those things, if you train some people for this kind of ethics, you have no control over other. I already called this ethics and this honesty as applying to what did I say, 150 degree or something. It's not 360 degrees. So scratch the surface, it doesn't deserve so much of regard. Yeah.
I think little bit we are over time.
Correct.
right now.
So
I
it
know
should
there's
be-
more question. So let's
Let's
take the
permit
question
one,
over
one,
to
one last one will
Yeah, I have one question.
Ah.
In our path,
Yeah.
in Hinduism and everything, we believe in destiny guiding what you're doing
Correct.
and what you're going to do. So in the spiritual matter also, is it destiny guiding, or do we have the free will to choose the path?
See, we should be true to our heart, and when we look into our heart, the only answer we get is we do have free will. For example, after the program here, after you take some prasad, your mind may say, I have a little shopping to do, shall I go to the nearest Target, finish that and go home? Or shall I go home and do the shopping in the evening? What is the inner voice finally? You won't feel that, well, it will happen as per God's will. Rather, you will feel, I think I finish. I think let me finish the shopping. Then I need not come out of the house again. So some rejig, and you actually experience that it is you who will be calling the shots. You are calling shots. Therefore, it is necessary for us to be true to our inner voice, do what we regard as right, but keep educating ourselves. But down the road, it may seem that all that was a higher power guiding us.